C-A-N-C-E-R. Cancer. The 6-letter diagnosis that no one wants to hear come out of their doctor's mouth. But that is exactly what 18-year-old Corey Beer heard after he found a lump on his testicle.
I remember when it first happened in the actual doctor's office. I didn't really hear anything else other than the C word. As soon as it hits you, you kind of lose track of everything else in front of you. And I do remember actually going to the washroom, asking to leave the office. It was just myself and my mother there. I left the washroom, kind of splashed water in my face, and ended up fainting and passing out in the doctor's washroom there. Came back to, a minute later or so, and came back in. Must have been white as a ghost because my mom instantly knew something was up and wasn't feeling well. But yeah, the first time you hear it, it's definitely not something you're set and ready for. And I think my second thought was actually I was a little worried about how I was going to look for the team photo in for the hockey team, whether I was going to have to wear a toque or not. But yeah, the first reaction was pretty scary.
Beer says both breast and thyroid cancer runs in his family, but up until this point, he had a clean bill of health. But all that changed one day when he says he was doing a self-check.
It's kind of a random self-check, just feeling around, and noticed a lump. It was something there, small enough that it wouldn't cause me pain and whatnot, but annoying enough that it was still there, and decided to get it checked out. And I actually went to 2 doctors first who thought it was just a cyst and something we could have removed in surgery and whatnot. I ended up going to a specialist afterwards who got referred to, and he immediately came out and said that it was cancer and needed to have the operation immediately. And but yeah, it was kind of just a self-check, and just kind of popped up.
Corey considers himself to be one of the lucky ones. He caught the lump early enough, and no chemotherapy or radiation was needed. A week and a half after being told he had cancer, he was in surgery to remove the testicle. And if it wasn't for family and friends, he says he's not sure how he would have made it through this journey.
Well, fortunately for me, my family and friends were a huge support for me. There wasn't too many times where I was sitting there feeling like I was battling it by myself. Obviously, my parents were a huge sounding board for me there throughout all the recovery and that. My brother and sister, big supporters of mine, and my friends usually poking jokes at me now with having only one testicle left. But it was something I needed to. I'm pretty lighthearted that way, so to have a good group around me that could kind of make fun of it, make light of it, I think I needed that because it is a very serious matter. And if I had just consumed myself with how intense and how scary the moment was, I don't know that I would have handled it as well as I did.
For 3 years after surgery, Corey would go through a series of exams every 2 months. Blood work, chest x-rays, and a CT scan. Then for the next 2 years, this was reduced down to 3 times a year, and now it is just a yearly checkout. Despite having all these tests done, that wasn't the hardest part of the journey.
Hardest part would definitely be within the first 4 to 6 months for me. There was a lot of why me, why at this age, all that stuff. I ended up talking to a psychologist about it just to try and get my head back on track, and he kind of came with the phrase about why not you? What made you so special that you couldn't get this, that everyone else can and you can't? And it kind of put things in perspective for myself. And yeah, I would say that was a huge help and something that helped me get past it and feeling sorry for myself and wondering, why am I feeling this way, but get stronger and move past it, sort of thing.
Corey has now been cancer-free for the past 13 years. And when he looks back now at his cancer scare, he'd be the first to tell you that he has used it as motivation for the way he lives his life now.
There's a lot of bad days out there where, okay, you're down, you're feeling depressed, things not going right for you, whatever it is. I'm gonna say that there's always a bad day out there for anyone, but there was worse days for me, and that was one of them. When your first instinct when you hear cancer is it's really bad news. It's not going to be good. It's not going to end well. To know that I was able to fight through that, and I'll preface this by saying testicular cancer, as serious as it is, it's not as bad as some of the bigger ones. So to fight through that and achieve that goal of being cancer-free, I'll always have that with me, to know that I was in a bad spot and sick, and I fought through it and beat it. So if I can do that when I was 18 years old, imagine what I can do at 31. It's always one of those things that you think about, and you hope you can fight through whatever's in front of you. That's something I can go back on and remember that I got through something pretty tough.
Always being a coach, Corey is not one to shy away from telling his story to the players in the dressing room. We can't forget, he was the exact same age as some of the players who pull on the Cougars jersey when he was diagnosed with cancer. And with this being pink in the Rink Night, he passes along one more piece of advice.
There is no spot where you need to be embarrassed about something that's popped up on your body or something you're worried about. Obviously, going and getting checked once a year it might seem like a bad thing to go in and see a doctor that much, but it is something that's very important. And if you do that, you're in the clear, then there's no worries. But you'd hate to have it the other way.